Good morning and welcome, friends, to Temple Buddhist Center's Sunday morning service. My name is Victor, and I'm honored to be of service this morning. We hope that your experience today will be one of spiritual renewal, connection, and growth in our spiritual practice. We hope today's service finds you happy and healthy, whether you are visiting us from afar or whether you are right here present with us in the meditation hall. But please know that if you are struggling in any way, we hope that our service and our Sangha and our teachings can be a source of refuge for you, a source of spiritual nourishment, and have a grounding effect for you. We are excited to be able to celebrate our services in person once again, and we want to do so as safely as possible. Masks are recommended. However, respect and tolerance are encouraged. We appreciate your part in helping us to keep our Sangha happy, healthy, and whole. Let's begin this morning with a few conscious breaths. A conscious breath is where we seal the mouth, breathe deeply through the nose, hold that breath for a few moments, and then release slowly so that the exhale is longer than the inhale. Let's begin. Holding that breath, relaxing the shoulders, feeling the fullness of the lungs, and releasing slowly. Good. And as you release, just check in with the body. What's present for the body now? What is most alive in the form at this moment? It could be a restlessness, an anxiety, perhaps a sense of ease, or a sadness. Whatever is there, we embrace the truth of this moment instead of our thoughts about the way we wish it were. And a second conscious breath together. Holding for a moment. And releasing slowly. And as you release, feeling the body become more gentle, spacious, and light. And just giving yourself permission to unplug or take time off from connection with the energy of going and doing, striving, efforting, accomplishing. These aren't good, bad, right, or wrong, but when we take time to unplug from the energy of doing, then we have time to cultivate the energy of being. And a third conscious breath together. Holding for a moment, ventilating this precious human form, and releasing slowly. And as you release, bringing into your awareness the present moment. Sometimes the present moment can seem like a small increment of time, but it actually has no beginning and no ending. The present moment is not limited by skin or walls, and we are always arriving and always sharing the present moment with all beings in all places. And so here at Temple Buddhist Center, we like to begin our services with a little bit of chanting. Chanting is an integral part of every tradition. Chanting is not about being a singer. Chanting is about having a voice. It is about a sacred expression from within to without, and about connecting and sharing our voices together. One of my chant teachers used to say, you begin by hearing your voice, then you hear the harmonies, and then there is only one voice. Today's chant is Namo Amitabha Hamsa, Hamsa. As we approach the solstice and the beginning of the season of light, Namo Amitabha honors the Buddha of limitless light. And in Sanskrit, Hamsa means I am that. I am that. And so we'll invite Rochelle to tone us in as we take another conscious breath. Together. Namo Amitabha Hamsa Hamsa. 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 With a smile. Namo Amitabha Hamsa Hamsa. Namo Amitabha Hamsa Hamsa. Once more. Namo Amitabha Hamsa Hamsa. And here at Temple Buddhist Center, we practice Western-style Buddhism. Western Buddhism is a blend of Eastern philosophy and Western psychology. And this new and exciting form of spirituality combines to create an exciting new form that is dynamic, it is inclusive, it is active, it is transforming and growing with us, and focuses on core Buddhist insights, as well as mindfulness, meditation, and their practical applications in our daily lives. Our goal here is not to get everyone to agree on a specific lineage or philosophy or sect of Buddhism, but rather it is on a shared experience of mindfulness, oneness, and love. Whether we are chanting together, sharing from the heart, or spending time in noble silence, we respect that you will participate at a level that is comfortable for you. We take refuge in the three jewels and acknowledge these core values as expressions of the awakened mind, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We value awareness of our Buddha nature, as well as the Buddha nature of all beings, bringing a fresh new perspective to each and every precious moment. And the second jewel, the Dharma, the truth teachings that release us from fear and delusion and help us to realize the true nature of who we are. And finally, our Sangha, our spiritual community, where we come together to practice the teachings and to help each other along every step of the path. And so let's take a moment now to silence any cell phones or electronic devices as we move into a time of recitation and meditation. We're going to begin with the prayer of refuge. We will recite that 3 times for the 3 jewels. Together. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. And so as we prepare now for a time in meditation, if you have an extensive practice, then we invite you to practice in a way that is fitting for you this morning. If, however, you are new to meditation, we're going to begin with an opening dedication. We will awaken the bell 3 times for the 3 jewels. And then our teacher today, Mr. Robert Brumet, will guide us in a brief guided meditation designed to assist you in moving into the stillness. We will spend approximately 12 to 15 minutes connecting with each other in consciousness today in noble silence. And afterwards, we will sound the return bell, and Robert will bring us out of meditation, and then it will be time for today's Dharma talk or teaching. And just a quick reminder that we do have cushions up front. There are blankets, tissues, and also cough drops or throat lozenges and listening devices at the altar at the back of the meditation hall. So at any time, should you need any of these items, please feel free to do so. Let's take a conscious breath. Body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness. I send my heart along with the sound of the bell. May the hearers awaken from forgetfulness, transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow, and realize the true nature of who they are.
As we listen to the sound of the bell, as it recedes into the silence, we let go and allow the mind, the body, to rest in that silence. Letting go and resting. Resting in being. Letting go of all unnecessary efforting, doing, planning, strategizing. Coming home to pure being, which is here right now, as you, as all of us. Bringing awareness to the breath. Feel each in-breath and each out-breath. Feel it in the body. Perhaps at the belly or the chest or the nostrils, or maybe several places. Just resting on the feeling of breathing. And letting go of everything but the breath. Letting our attention release everything. Come back to the breath. Whatever you notice coming into the field of your attention, no matter how compelling, see if you can just, for now, set it aside, let it go, come back to the breath. No matter how often it comes back, no matter how demanding that voice may be, let your attention be stronger. Let your commitment to being be stronger than all of the distracting voices and sensations, feelings, and sounds. Letting go of all that calls us away from our true nature, our Buddha nature. Again and again, we let go, we relax, we rest in the silence of our own being, returning to the breath over and over again. Continuing to notice everything that pulls you away from the breath, every thought, sound, sensation, story, whatever it is, just notice it. Let it go, come back to the breath. And now I invite you to begin sensing your body sitting in the chair or on the bench or the cushion. Feeling your arms and your legs. Feeling your spine. Fully inhabiting the body with awareness. Bringing awareness to hearing. Just receiving all of the sounds that come to the ear. And in a moment, you'll hear the bell ring. And when you do, I invite you to gently open your eyes and include seeing in your meditation practice. So we include seeing, hearing, sensing the body, being aware of the mind, being fully awake to our present moment experience each and every moment. Well, good morning, everyone. Nice to see you here, and Merry Christmas and Happy Solstice, and whatever else you might be celebrating today. I'd like to begin with a story about the Buddha, an experience in the life of the Buddha. In this story, you will not find in the sutras, and the reason you will not find it in the sutras is that I made it up just a few days ago. So I'm quite sure you won't find it in the sutras. And in this particular story of the Buddha, he was not born as a prince or as a nobleman, but he was born as a commoner. He had to earn a living like everyone else. And he earned his living, as it were, as a vacuum cleaner salesman. And he was a very good vacuum cleaner salesman. He broke all records and really impressed his boss. And you had to be a very good salesman to sell vacuum cleaners before electricity was invented. Like 2,500 years before it was invented. But as it were, he did very well. Then he told his boss he needed to take some time off to go meditate and to become enlightened. And so he did. He took a few years off and went off into the wilderness and meditated by himself and came back and was fully enlightened. And his boss was very happy to see him and wanted him to take his old job back. And the Buddha said, you know, I would love to. I appreciate the offer, but I just can't do it. You know, the boss said, why can't you do it? And the Buddha says, I've given up all of my attachments. Perhaps I should apologize for that. If I've added to any suffering in your life. But one thing is true in that story, and that is that the Buddha did give up all of his attachments, and thus he became enlightened. So that's what I would like to talk about today, is about attachments. The Buddha taught that enlightenment was possible for every one of us in this very lifetime. And part of enlightenment is giving up attachments. And so the good news is that enlightenment is possible. The bad news is that you cannot give up attachments. I mean, if we could, most of us probably would have a long time ago, if you could just decide to give them up. If you could will them away. But it doesn't work that way. The good news, however, is that your attachments will give you up under the right conditions. Just like the leaves fall off the tree under the right conditions. The trees don't have to consciously give up the leaves. It happens quite naturally. But conditions have to be right. And so that's our work, and that's what I want to talk about this morning, is creating the right conditions so that our attachments will fall away like the leaves on a tree. One of my teachers says that enlightenment is an accident, and our work is to become accident-prone. And so what we are is we're creating the conditions for our awakening. We cannot force it or will it. So let's look at what the right conditions are. There's three characteristics of the conditions needed to release attachment. One is that of awareness or recognition of the attachment. So being aware of how we are attached, when we are attached, what we are attached to. We can be attached to anything, anything and everything. We can be attached to an object, such as money or a car or a house or whatever. We can be attached to a person. We can be attached to a particular belief, to a role that we have, to a particular personal quality, my intelligence or my beauty or my whatever, Mine, of course, we call it mine. We can be attached to an experience, particularly a pleasant experience, a positive experience. An attachment, I might want to point out, can be a positive attachment, which means we are attracted to that particular person, place, thing, or it can be a negative attachment. Negative attachment is sometimes called aversion. And when we hate someone or something, we are attached to it just as much as if we are addicted to that, you see. It's just a negative attachment, it's called. So first of all, recognizing our attachments. Some of the ways to recognize them, when there is craving or resistance. We talk a lot about that in Buddhism. Anytime there's grasping, craving, I have to have it, or I have to get rid of it. I can't be here, you see. I call it any time we argue with reality. Either arguing that something should be here that's not here, or something should not be here that is here. So that's That's a characteristic of craving and aversion, arguing with what is, arguing with reality. Another signal of attachment is when we have a sense of ownership. And I'm not talking about a legal ownership like, I own my car or my house, but I'm talking about a psychological ownership. My kids, my kids, my family, my spouse, my talents, whatever it might be, you see. I own them as this is mine. I have a right to it. I have a right to do whatever I want to with it because I own it. We have that, perhaps, that attitude towards the earth itself. We have had, maybe we still do. I own it, I can do whatever I want to with it. You see? Another one is identification. Identification is an even deeper sense of ownership or attachment. It's when I see it as part of me. That's me. The deepest attachment we have is our attachment to who we believe ourselves to be, our own identity. That we take for granted, that we assume. And it's so deep we don't even know that we assume it. So those are the ways to recognize attachment. When there's craving, aversion, when we feel like we own something and we have a right to it, and when we're identified with it, when we consciously or unconsciously say, well, that's part of me. That's who I am, you see. So once we recognize an attachment, then the next step is to be willing to let it go. And that's really the practice of equanimity. Equanimity is neither grasping at something nor pushing it away. It's just holding it, being willing to let it go, being willing to have it here. Now, once again, this is bad news and good news in our practice of letting go. The good news is that you do not necessarily have to give up the thing that you're attached to. If you are attached to your children, to not be attached to your children, you don't need to put them in a foster home. Or if you're attached to your spouse, you don't need to get divorced, et cetera, et cetera. You actually don't need to necessarily change anything in your external world. However, we do need to let go of the identification, our sense of ownership, and our sense of craving, grasping. That internal letting go. And the bad news is, when there's good news, there's always bad news on the other side. The bad news is it feels like we're losing it. When I let go of something I'm attached to, I may have it with me at all times, but if I let go of my attachment to it, I feel like I've lost it. And so that's why attachment is not easy. Why, I should say, letting go of attachments are not easy. We can't just give them up because we are unconsciously grasping them because they're covering up some pain, some need in our life. And so as we let go, we grieve, we hurt. We feel a hole inside, perhaps. So that's the third quality that's necessary, And that is the willingness to experience whatever we need to experience as we let go. And those feelings, whatever they are temporary. I mean, they may be very strong, may be very deep, particularly with families, with our identification of who we are. You know, sometimes we experience this naturally in our life, or our kids grow up and move away, or sometimes there's an external loss. Maybe that's what triggers the internal letting go. If I get divorced or I lose my job, rather than replacing that right away with another attachment, perhaps I can use that experience to let go of internally as well as externally. So we don't need to physically let go of anything, but we do need to internally let go of everything. So that's a great paradox, you see. Now, in the early days of Buddhism, it was a monastic practice, and so you did have to let go of everything physically. That's the monastic path. But today, for us that are, you might say, householders, we don't have to do that. However, in the world we live in, it's even more difficult than it was, I think, 2,500 years ago, because we're just conditioned so deeply, and we've got so many things to be attached to. You know, just imagine going for the next month without your cell phone. I mentioned that to somebody once, and they almost had a heart attack. And I says, "Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding." Okay. You know, just so whatever it is that. So the good news is, it's worth it. Dissolving attachments will bring freedom, an incredible amount of freedom. And as Ajahn Chah, who was Jack Kornfield's teacher, my teacher's teacher, used to say, and Jack would quote him all the time, he'd say, "Let go a little, and you'll have a little bit of freedom. Let go a lot, and you'll have a lot of freedom." So let's take a moment and just sit. May we have the courage, the wisdom, and the love to let go and be who we truly are. Thank you for sharing your practice with us.
Thank you so much, Robert. So just taking a moment to embody the teachings instead of embracing our thoughts about analyzing and trying to understand. We just allow the Dharma talk to, like a warm summer rain, to wash over us, and the drops that land on us are for us, and the drops that go elsewhere are for somebody else. And so if necessary, you can shift your posture or take a conscious breath or move about and stretch for a second as we move into metta practice or loving kindness practice. And so we will begin this heart practice, which is a third kind of type of meditation. And some people, like to perhaps form the Anjali Mudra or the heart focus, or you can place your hands on your heart. As we move into this metta practice, I also invite you to take a conscious breath. And as you release, I invite you to bring to mind the image of you, a full body image of the form that has been given your name and that has accrued the many experiences over the years. And as you hold this image in your mind's eye, recite silently to yourself these words of loving kindness practice. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be safe from inner and outer dangers. May I be well in body and mind. And may I be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as you release, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of a friend. Holding this image of your friend in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts to them as we send metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as you release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of an acquaintance, perhaps a clerk or a cashier, a salesperson from the week, a passerby, a classmate. And holding this image in your mind's eye, let us send to them metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And as you release that sentiment into the universe, I invite you now to bring to mind the image of a difficult person in your life, a challenging person, perhaps a boss or a coworker, classmate, neighbor, or a political figure. And holding this image in your mind's eye, let us open our hearts to them as we send metta. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and mind. you be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And now I invite you to bring to mind the image of the world, all the plants and flowers and trees, animals of the land, the sea, the sky, and all sentient beings, as we open our hearts to all beings in all places. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be safe from inner and outer dangers. May we be well in body and mind. And may we all be at ease and happy. Conscious breath. And in the true spirit of dana, the Buddhist practice of generosity, temple services here are given freely. In the same way, if you choose to give, please give with a generous heart, which means not in return for anything that you have received today, but rather so that those who may be seeking refuge may find it here in this temple with these teachers, with these teachings, and with this Sangha. And we take a moment of gratitude for all of our wonderful ambassadors. Ambassadors are folks who have committed to regular monthly electronic giving. And remember, it's not about the amount, it's just that the regular giving each month helps us to set a budget here at TBC. And if you would like to become an ambassador, then you can simply stop by our website, templebuddhistcenter.com, and click on the Love Offering button. You can also text Unity Temple to 77977. Also, tremendous gratitude for all of our amazing volunteers who help us each and every day as we work together as a Sangha to create online nourishment and spiritual enrichment, online connection, classes that meet here at the temple, all of our different decorations and setting up and taking down. So we have so many folks to be thankful for as they are so gracious with their time, talents, and treasures. Also, thank you so much to Rochelle for your music and wearing your Christmas llama sweater, my favorite. And thank you so much to Mr. Robert Brumet for your guidance, your mentorship, your friendship, your incredible knowledge of the Dharma and willingness to share that with all of us. So thank you so much, Robert. And thank you, Eric, for all your work with Media Magic. And thank you especially to each and every one of you for sharing your heart and your presence and your practice with us here at Temple Buddhist Center. We are the better for it. And so as we move now into our bodhicitta dedication, we will recite this together. And we ended our service just a little bit early because we have a couple special announcements and a special holiday closing chant. And so our bodhicitta dedication together. May the pure, brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably, until all are illumined and awakened. And with the palms of our hands together in front of our hearts, as we go forth from this place, may we enter each moment in innocence, guided by the wisdom of our hearts. And as we open our hands, open our eyes, shine our light into the world. Namaste. Thank you, everyone, so much for being with us today. And real quick, just a couple of quick announcements. We're having a tremendous turnout for our New Year's retreat, the fourth turning of the wheel. And our theme this year is Buddhism and the Western Practitioner. And so there are still some openings left, and there will be a resource guide to assist you. A lot of people like maybe getting a little bed and breakfast or a little hotel room or something just to get themselves away from the distractions of home and kind of take themselves on a retreat. It's a 4-day retreat. We hope you can join us. The next slide there, Rob, thank you. Of course, our post-service discussion group meets online as well as in the room right next door to the meditation hall, right down the hallway to your left. And also, we've got a couple classes coming up. Mental Health First Aid is coming up. Wake Up Sangha is our young adult Sangha that's newly forming. I think they've only had 2 meetings. Today, Wake Up Sangha meets at 1. And then today is also a special full moon meditation flower mandala that they will be building together with Estuary, and some sound healing provided by VJ Herbert. So that's going to be a wonderful event that happens today at 2 o'clock downstairs in the Unity Hall. And so Wake Up Sangha, along with TBC, Estuary, and Unity Temple, are sponsors of this cool and fun event. And then also, the Buddha and the Bean meets every Tuesday morning. So if you'd like to have coffee with practitioners and go over different aspects of the practice, every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. on Zoom, they are meeting. Thank you so much to Karen and to Matt and all the folks who really moved that program forward. And then, of course, our recovery programs. Dave leads Thursday evening at 7 p.m., the Recovery Dharma. And then we have Buddhism in 12-step each Sunday at 12:30, which meets upstairs. And also a quick thank you to everybody. Unity Temple and TBC sponsored 60 children this year for Christmas. And we met that right away. So thank you so much to everybody who picked up an angel card or got the newsletter and chose a child to get some gifts for Christmas. So we really exceeded our goals in that area. So again, thank you so much for that. And then, let's see, I think next slide, Rob. Okay, so this is one of those things where in our practice, it's suffering that wakes us up. And so we thought we'd provide you with some more suffering. So we have a little holiday version of Jingle Bells. It's the Buddhist version of Jingle Bells. Here we go. So once you see the dream, there's no more primal scream. You'll go throughout your day, laughing all the way. Then we close our eyes, making spirits bright. What fun it is to sit and chant with Sangha by our side. Everyone, Om, ring that bell, ring it right away. Oh, what fun it is to sit with our Sangha night and day. Om, ring that bell, ring it right away. Oh, what fun it is to sit with our Sangha night and day. Well, a day or 2 ago, or maybe it's been years, sat to meditate and look between our ears. But now my knees are blue, my elbows got an itch. A sleigh ride sounds like fun, my friend, but I'd really rather sit. Oh, ring that bell, ring it right away. Oh, what fun it is to sit with our song night and day. Om, ring that bell, ring that bell, ring it right away. Oh, what fun it is to sit with our Sangha night and day. Peace, blessings, and eggnog.